This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
Breaking news this morning, a verdict in the case against a man prosecutors say was an Indianapolis drug kingpin. We'll break down what went down in a federal courtroom late last night.
It's a tight squeeze for some students during their rides to and from school. But a school district is pushing back at claims from parents that the buses are too full.
Taking the steps needed from high school to the workforce can be tough if English was not your first language. Today in Hiring Hoosiers, a program that gives a hand up to Latino students to help them eventually get employed. But first, it is 5 o'clock here on our Friday. Thanks for joining us. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. And we want to turn to Todd Clausen right now to get a check at our weekend weather. Is it going to be ideal for all the plans everyone has out there?
Yeah, for the most part. There's going to be a couple opportunities for some rain. On Saturday, it's in the morning. On Sunday, it's in the afternoon. But in between, plenty of dry hours, plenty of heat building in, and some sunshine as well. Now, this morning, as you walk out the door, it's a little cool in spots, especially in northern locations where Peru, you're at 59 degrees, Lafayette at 61, 63 in Bloomington. Indianapolis running a little bit warmer this morning in the city, as usual, at 68 degrees. But look at the 50s here in Logansport as well as Frankfort, Anderson. You're down to 60 degrees right now. So some of you may need a light jacket here this morning, just very, very briefly until the sun comes up and we can start to moderate these temperatures. As far as the clouds go, they continue to build in. Some clearer skies still off towards the east. But as far as rain goes, this system will dive down to our south, so you don't have to worry about that. But during the middle half of the day, as we get closer to the noon hour, we may build in a few spotty showers. We'll have to keep our eye on that. Otherwise, mostly cloudy skies today, and as a result of that cloud cover, a little bit cooler with highs only into the low 80s. Lauren?
Todd, thanks. No crashes to report around the area right now, but just a reminder about this closure. This went into effect last Friday around 9 p.m., and so we're about a week into the closure, and we still have a week left. Just a heads up, especially if you're heading out somewhere different for your weekend commute, that you'll not be able to travel eastbound, northbound on I-465 between I-65 on the south side and I-70 on the east side. But for right now, for your morning commute, let's take a live look. Let's travel up to I-69 at 106th Street. You can see in the distance some flashing lights, some ongoing construction in this area, but it's not slowing down traffic. Everything is moving up to speed. Now to breaking news this morning, a big court verdict we just got word of overnight. The man who prosecutors say used to lead a notorious gang is found guilty.
Richard Grundy convicted late last night along with 4 co-defendants in a federal drug trafficking trial. Our Ray Steele tells us Grundy could spend the rest of his life in prison.
The fight between Richard Grundy, aspiring hip-hop producer and, according to police and prosecutors, leader of the gang, the Grundy Crew, goes back a long time. It was almost 4 years ago that Marion County prosecutor Terry Curry announced more than 110 criminal charges against Grundy, members of his family, and other associates. They were accused of a series of murders, gang activity, and dealing drugs. But one by one, those cases ended with little, if any, punishment for those charged. Witnesses were often afraid to testify out of fear of retribution. For Grundy himself, it almost ended just over 2 years ago when he was shot and wounded during a funeral procession for a family member. RTV6 was told there was a $50,000 bounty on Grundy's head. But Grundy survived the shooting, and he escaped the original case with a guilty plea to just 1 count of dealing marijuana. That's when he told our Derek Thomas he was moving away from Indy and just wanted to live a normal life.
I got to deal with the police and people, you know what I'm saying? So I got 2 people to deal with. I got every police that want to, every person with a badge want to push me in jail. And then, you know, I generated enemies just based on these accusations that ain't even true. You know what I'm saying?
That did not last long. In November 2017, Grundy was one of 20 people arrested on federal drug trafficking charges. He and 4 others who did not plead guilty in the case went on trial in Indianapolis in July. That case, however, ended in a mistrial because someone leaked information about members of the jury, sparking fear that someone connected to Grundy would go after them. The second trial this month was moved to the federal courthouse in Evansville. That's where late last night, a jury found Grundy guilty on all counts in the drug case. We're still waiting to hear about a sentencing date, but when it does happen, it could be the last the public sees of Richard Grundy. Working for you, Ray Steele, RTV6.
Also breaking from the city's north side overnight, Metro Police are investigating a late-night shooting near 34th and Graceland Avenue. That's just blocks from Crown Hill Cemetery. Police say a neighbor called to report a man shot in the backyard of a home on Graceland. When police arrived just before midnight, officers found a 25-year-old man with multiple gunshot wounds. Right now, he is listed in critical condition. No word this morning on the search for a suspect.
At 5:05, dozens of residents of an assisted living facility have less than 2 months to figure out new living arrangements. It's because the company behind Crestwood Village is selling 2 of its properties. That's forced more than 100 residents of those 2 assisted living homes just 60 days to find a new place to live. One of them is 99-year-old Vera Knuckles. The former Army sergeant says that she's still in good shape and she'll find a new home, but she worries about her neighbors.
I've made a lot of friends here, and I do a lot of things here, but I get out more often than most of them. Now, we have people that live in here that are here every day, all day. Some of them don't have anybody to come and see them. Some of them don't have any outside friends, and so it's difficult.
Crestwood residents are receiving help in finding new homes. The company selling the property says it's also helping more than 100 employees look for new jobs.
RTV6 is working for you, getting answers for parents who are worried about overcrowding on their children's school buses.
All of them are crowded. Sometimes they're running early, sometimes they're running late. Just depends on how many kids get on at the stops.
They're having a hard time keeping bus drivers, and the buses seem to be pretty jam-packed. I know they're sitting almost 3 to a seat on our bus.
RTV6 took those concerns to Franklin Township schools where this is happening. A district spokesman says the buses are full but not considered overcrowded. Under state law, 3 elementary school students are allowed to sit in 1 seat. Officials say the district needs more bus drivers, a common issue that it's working to address.
And changes have been made near a school zone on the west side of Indianapolis just days after a parent reached out to RTV6 for help. The Department of Public Works has now installed new school zone signs on Holt Road and Sam Jones Expressway near Stoutfield Elementary School in Wayne Township. Those new signs come less than 1 week after we took a mother's concerns about the busy intersection to the department. Well, a local nonprofit's goal is to get more Latino students to graduate high school and further their education right here in Indiana.
We're highlighting it this morning as part of Hiring Hoosiers. Our Aaron Lish is live outside the Indiana Latino Institute, where they are getting students classroom to career ready. Aaron, this is a program that is so important.
It's absolutely incredible. So the Indiana Latino Institute, they figure out what those students' needs are and exactly what barriers they may be facing and figuring out their strengths. And some of those students that I talked with say they are the first generation to ever go to college. So this is a lot to deal with. So they're trying to figure out what they need to do. So they're here to help them figure out those financial aid process. They're also helping them get those different scholarships they provide them. And they also want to build those resumes to make them strong and stand out. So they do have different programs here, including getting these community partners in our area to have interns over the summer so they get that real world experience. They also have another program where they have employment exploration for those college students, where staff will go through those resumes and make sure they are prepared to talk with future employers. Alex Santana in this video, he used IOI and says they connected him to Eli Lilly, and he's now an intern there. He says this program has not only helped him stand out academically, but also made him become a leader.
They have been helping me not only to make sure that I have a successful resume, but to also to keep developing my leadership skills, my professional skills, to be prepared for the real world and to be able to influence other Latinos.
Conducting a survey, the Institute found 62% of Latinos sometimes, rarely, or never feel that they have the resources for higher education. And with that, staff really want to get these kids ready to go well before they graduate high school. So they're going into these schools a little bit earlier to figure out what their needs are. And coming up in the next half hour, we're going to talk with a couple of these students. But for now, I'll send it back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thank you, Aaron. The time now is 5:09 as you get going on this Friday morning. We made it to the the end of the work week and you're walking out the door this morning to skies that are mostly cloudy across the area and temperatures that are in the 60s and eventually the 70s here as we progress into the 8 o'clock hour with those mostly cloudy skies. So the clouds have kind of been spilling in throughout the overnight hours. It's dry, expecting dry weather through the duration of the morning drive as these storms are going to dive down to our south, but they're close enough to be giving us this cloud cover. However, during the middle half of the day, there will be the chance for a few spotty showers across parts of the area. They move through, though, so any evening plans will be just fine. Highs today will be in the low 80s. More on that weekend forecast, which brings back the heat and the humidity coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thank you so much. He's been under investigation for years now, and now the women accusing this actor of rape are taking him to court. They're also going after his religious group, which they say tried to intimidate them.
And they were the subjects of the Send Them Back chants at a recent presidential campaign rally. Coming up, how the president may have pressured a country to block 2 members of Congress from a bipartisan trip overseas.
And here on the south side, traffic is moving along smoothly. I-65 and I-465. Don't forget, you won't be able to travel eastbound on 465 from this spot due to that road construction and closure. But of course, we'll keep you updated on any delays on the detour route that's coming up right here in Good Morning Indiana.
Weekdays at 9 on RTV6.
It is 5:13 on our Friday, and here's a live look at I-70 a little west of Cumberland Road, 2 hour east. Traffic in this area is already picking up at this early hour. Lots of headlights out that way. It's traveling smoothly eastbound and westbound on I-70. No crashes in this area to slow down your morning drive.
New developments now in the investigation of actor Danny Masterson. 4 women who have accused the former star of that '70s show of rape are now suing him and the Church of Scientology, which Masterson is a member of. The Huffington Post was first to report the lawsuit filed in Los Angeles. The suit accuses Scientology and Masterson of stalking, physical invasion of privacy, and a conspiracy to obstruct justice. The 4 women all say Masterson drugged them and violently raped them. 3 of the women are former Scientologists. 2 of them are ex-girlfriends of the actor. The Los Angeles Police Department has been investigating the rape allegations for 3 years now, but so far have not filed charges.
Some Democrats are saying it's something that could be added to the potential articles of impeachment against the president. The president is being blasted by some for appearing to pressure Israel to deny entry to the country to 2 Muslim members of Congress. Israel initially said it would allow Michigan Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib and Representative Ilhan Omar of Minnesota to make a planned trip to the country. But Israel's prime minister reversed course after public pressure from President Trump on Twitter. Even other Republicans in Congress had said that Omar and Tlaib should not be blocked from making that trip.
Speaking with the president, he knows there are people that have a difference of opinion. I think it'd be healthy for anyone that has that opinion should come just as all these members have.
Omar and Tlaib were 2 of the 4 congresswomen of color who were recently targeted by the president after he suggested in a tweet that they, quote, go back to where they came from.
Politics here at home now. Republican State Senator Jim Merritt outlining some of his public safety plans if he is elected mayor in November. Merritt says he wants to appoint a deputy mayor of public safety to oversee IMPD. He also wants to add more paramedics, EMTs, dispatchers, and 150 more police officers. In 2019, violent crime overall is falling, and the city is on pace for about 133 homicides, which would be the lowest since 2013. But Merritt says that is not good enough.
Once a person makes a decision to pull that trigger, they make a permanent mark on many people's lives.
One thing Merritt wouldn't be able to do as mayor is enact new gun laws in the city. In 2011, the Indiana legislature passed a law prohibiting cities from regulating guns and ammunition. As a state senator, Merritt voted in favor of the law. He told RTV6 he still supports that law. The Hogsett campaign responded to Merritt's claims. Heather Sager, the campaign spokesperson, said in part Mayor Hogsett has said consistently that the loss of even one life in our community is unacceptable, and that is why he has taken a comprehensive approach to combating the source of homicides that has been on the rise in our city since 2013.
More dinosaur fossils will soon be on display at the Children's Museum of Indianapolis. Scientists have uncovered 7 tons of fossils along the Jurassic Mile in Wyoming. Wyoming. Some of them have been hidden for 150 million years. This is video from the Big Dig. Some of the fossils being prepped will be on display at the Children's Museum's newly expanded Jurassic Paleo Prep Lab. It's scheduled to open on September 10th. The museum is also working with a new exhibit called Mission Jurassic that's scheduled to debut in a couple of years. At 5:17, let's check in on what we can expect as we step outside right now.
And Lauren, as you walk out the door right now, you're talking about temperatures that are in the 50s and 60s and skies that are mostly cloudy across the area. Pendleton, you're down to 60 degrees, 61 in Greenfield, Plainfield, currently at 63. Once you get outside the metro area, there's a few 50s on the map here to the north in Peru, and then to the west in Crawfordsville at 56 degrees. Bloomington currently at 63. So it's a cool morning. Some of you may want to have a light jacket, but I do think you'll be able to shed that jacket pretty quickly here as we work our way throughout the morning hours. So skies are a little clear. The clouds are a little thinner off on the eastern side of the state. Clouds are a little thicker as you work your way off towards the west, and that's because it's a little closer to this complex of storms that is diving down to our south. So we're going to miss out on most of the rain from this, but it is close enough to kind of just spoil our forecast a little bit with the cloud cover here across central Indiana. Now, tomorrow, it's not out of the question that one of these clusters of storms, as I'll show you in just a second, could bring some rain to parts of the area to start off your Saturday. But let's get through today first. The clouds are increasing, and by mid-morning into early afternoon, there is a weak little disturbance that'll be moving through the area that could prompt just a few very, very isolated rain showers across the area. We're not talking about a lot of rainfall. I just don't want you to walk out maybe to Food Truck Friday on Georgia Street or somewhere else where you're heading to get something to eat and there's a little bit of a sprinkle, but that moves through really, really quick. And by the time we get to 4:30 this evening, we are talking about just mostly cloudy skies, and the threat of rainfall diminishes, which is great news because there's a lot of concerts going on. There's a lot of festivals happening this evening that I was just looking up, and I'll kind of share those with you throughout the morning hours, and we are going to be in good shape for those. So hour by hour, your temperatures are in the 60s to start. We end at 81 degrees. One of those events tonight is the Indians game. First pitch is at 7:15. Mostly cloudy skies, a dry evening, temperatures in the 70s, and of course it's Friday, so you can stay for the fireworks after the game. Here's your weekend forecast. Saturday 85, Sunday we're up to 90. The days are different. Saturday storm chance in the morning, Sunday storm chance in the evening. Here is the potential as we get closer to daybreak tomorrow that some rain could be moving through. One of those complexes of storms will be possible. The exact track will be determined. It may miss us down to the south, but as you see here on TrueCast, there will be that potential. If you do see the rain tomorrow morning, yes, it may hamper some morning plans, but that moves through. By the afternoon, we should be just fine. Then on Sunday, again, it's the opposite. Some pop-up storms in the afternoon as that temperature gets to near 90 degrees.
All right, Todd, we do have a traffic alert for drivers in Fishers. Take a live look right here at I-69 at 106th Street. You can see the flashing lights there in the middle of your screen. That's the southbound left lanes. Two of them at least are blocked right now for a crash cleanup. You can see traffic is getting a little bit heavier, and it's squeezing over into those right lanes, going a little bit slower past that crash cleanup. And in the opposite direction, northbound I-69 also moving slowly. Probably some rubbernecking going on, so just use caution as you travel in that area. Let's take a look at our traffic now. Map, no other crashes to report at this hour, so let's plan out your drive heading in from the south side on northbound State Road 37 from State Road 144 in Bargersville to the I-465 ramps. It is a 12-minute drive. And over here, Whiteland Road exit in Johnson County, traveling up northbound I-65. You can get all the way to the North Split in just 18 minutes, so no delays there. Of course, we'll continue to monitor that Fishers crash and keep you updated this morning.
Bachelor night at the ballpark took on a new meaning at Victory Field last night. The Indianapolis Indians welcomed former Bachelor Ben Higgins to the ballpark. Fans lined up before the game for a meet and greet. The Warsaw native currently lives in Denver, but he does still get back to his home state from time to time.
It's nice. I mean, it's welcoming, and that's what I love about, you know, the Midwest is people don't really just let you go. You're always a part of the Midwest once you're born here.
Oh, he's such a nice guy. Now, while he is still technically a bachelor, Ben does have a new girlfriend now. He says he connected with her by messaging her on Instagram. So, fellas, slide into those DMs.
There you go. Just never know.
Not ours, though.
Yes. Thank you. Well, some residents are tired of salespeople knocking on their door, but coming up at 5:30, some businesses are fighting back. as they say a crackdown on solicitation is unconstitutional.
And get it while you can, because time is running out. We'll show you which mouth-watering treat is the big winner this year at the Indiana State Fair. Yum. We'll be right back.
Budget at Ross. Yes for less.
Welcome back. It is 5:25. Monitoring a crash right now in the Fishers area. Looking in the middle of your screen here at all the flashing lights. It's the southbound left lanes of I-69 at 106th Street. You can see traffic has to get out of those left and center lanes, move over to the right. So it is slowing things down just a bit, especially if you're heading in that direction. We'll continue to keep a close eye on the spot, though, and keep you updated on when it is clear.
The results are in. This year's Taste of the Fair winner is Relleno de Papa. Indiana State Fair goers voted this treat the best of the new foods at the fair. It's a mashed potato ball filled with seasoned ground beef and fried golden brown served. What's fried golden brown?
I think it is fried golden brown.
Fried golden brown. Served with rice.
You've been on vacation.
I've been on vacation, yeah. Well, the contest is over. The fair is not. So you still have time to try the winning food and so much more, of course. The fair runs through Sunday.
Maybe 5 in the morning, but I could go for that right now.
It looks so good.
I don't know. It's a little heavy for me at 5 in the morning,
I don't
yeah,
care.
maybe for lunch.
It looks good.
Yeah.
All right, outside right now.
Says the man who's already like down 2 sodas over there this morning.
Just one
All
so
right.
far. The other one's on tap, I'll tell you that much
Okay.
for the 6 o'clock hour. All right, 81 this afternoon with mostly cloudy skies. A stray shower or two is possible today. Tomorrow, storms potentially in the morning. Sunday, storms in the afternoon. You notice the heat builds in as we get into the second half of the weekend as well. The time now is 5:27. This is Good Morning Indiana. You're watching RTV6. Stay with us. We're back here in just a few minutes.
Sponsored by Citizens Energy Group. This is Good Morning Indiana, working for you.
A late-night shooting sends one person to the hospital.
Breaking overnight, what we're learning about the moments before the gunfire. Plus, we've heard about do not call, but what about do not knock?
Yeah, this morning, why one central Indiana city is considering the possibility of such a list. But before we get to our top stories this morning, it is Friday. I want to welcome you into Good Morning Indiana. I'm Lauren Casey.
And I'm Meredith Barrick. We are going to send things over to Todd Clausen. We need to know whether or not, Todd, we will need to accessorize with an umbrella at all this weekend.
You know, there's at times you may want to have the umbrella handy, so if you're going to be out and about, I'd say have it in the car, but there is a lot of dry hours mixed into the forecast both today and into the weekend as well. 50s and 60s this morning, kind of a cooler start with the exception of the metro area at 68, 63 in Bloomington, but some 50s here to the north in Logansport, Kokomo, Frankfort right now. Anderson, you're sitting right at 60 degrees, so it's a little bit of a cooler start for this time of year, but the clouds are moving in, so our temperatures are probably not going to drop off much more here throughout the course of the morning, and the clouds are continuing to get thicker as this storm system dives down to our south. So we're going to miss out on the rain from this system, but it is close enough to throw some clouds in our direction here throughout the course of the morning hours. So throughout the day today, it's another decent day for the Indiana State Fair. To be honest, temperatures are great. A little bit of cloud cover. You don't have to worry about that sunburn. There's just one little window of opportunity here late morning into the early afternoon that a few very spotty showers could move through. If you're going to the fair, you just duck into a building and let them go through and you'll be just fine. And then 82 degrees will be the high temperature. If you have evening plans tonight, there is no threat of rain. More on that forecast coming up in just a little bit. Lauren.
All right, Todd, we do have this traffic alert for drivers in the southbound lanes of I-69, and it looks like we have one northbound lane or shoulder there blocked. This is near 106th Street in Fishers, and we can tell you there's a crash cleanup ongoing here right now. That's what all the flashing lights are. Traffic heading southbound has to scoot all the way over into the right lane. You can see it is getting heavier too, so this might slow things down as we get even closer to 6 o'clock. Let's take a look right now at our Traffic Now map, and I'll point this area out to you. Again, it's right here, sort of between 116th Street and 106th Street in the left lanes. So slow down as you head through that area and use caution.
Breaking overnight, a federal jury in Evansville finding former Indianapolis drug kingpin Richard Grundy guilty on all counts. Authorities say Grundy led a drug operation selling cocaine, meth, heroin, and marijuana from outside the country. Grundy was arrested along with more than 20 other people in 2017 on federal drug drug charges. The 4 other people on trial with Grundy were also found guilty on all counts. We have more background of this story right now on the RTV6 app.
Also breaking news right now from the city's north side. Metro Police are investigating a late-night shooting. This happened near 34th and Graceland Avenue. That's just a few blocks from Crown Hill Cemetery. Police say that a neighbor called to report a man shot in the backyard of a home on Graceland. When police arrived just before midnight, the officers found a 25-year-old man with multiple gunshot wounds. At this hour, he is listed in critical condition, and there's no word this morning on a search for the suspect. We're also following breaking news out of Vermilion County right now. Fire crews are at the scene of this massive fire near St. Bernice. That's just a little west of Clinton. Authorities first reported the fire about an hour ago. The building is near the St. Bernice Fire Department on Broadway Street. Authorities have not said what started this fire.
The city of Westfield wants to make sure people can keep solicitors off their property if they choose to. In the past, it's been up to each neighborhood's homeowners associations whether to allow soliciting or not. But at least one solicitation company is fighting that, saying it's unconstitutional for an HOA to make a decision that blankets an entire neighborhood. City officials say they are considering making the policy a city ordinance. Residents we talked to say they are in favor of the rule, but are skeptical about it being enforced.
We were on a no-call list with our phones forever. Didn't stop anybody. And of course, what are you going to do? Sue them? You can't do anything. And so if you pass this, that's great. But how do you enforce it?
Well, as long as it's a city ordinance and properly passed, yes, our police department will enforce that on a one-on-one basis.
Mayor Andy Cook says a solicitation company is challenging the proposal. For more information on how this would all work, you can head to the RTV6 app and click on this story. Getting kids the resources they need to be successful in school is critical, and the Indiana Latino Institute is providing guidance to local students.
From our Hiring Hoosiers initiative, getting you connected to jobs, our own Aaron Lish is joining us live this morning at ILI with how they're getting students ready to go from classroom to their future careers. Aaron, good morning.
Good morning. So ILI, they're very committed to getting more kids graduating from high school and as well as college. To help those Latino students, they are providing that through free education programs.
So I had no clue what I was getting myself into.
Daniela Lopez wanted to go to college, but she wasn't sure where to start until someone told her to call the Indiana Latino Institute.
There was always someone there with an answer, and if they didn't have the answer, they guided me to someone who did have an answer, and that was very beneficial because I had no clue what I was doing.
She's now double majoring at Marian University. Lopez isn't the only one who struggled finding help. That's why this nonprofit reaches out to students as soon as they can.
We meet them at their houses, we do presentations at their schools and high school, and we work with them throughout high school and into college.
To figure out what students' interests and needs are, ILI provides free coaching and workshops for things like college applications, financial aid, and internship connections. This provided guidance for Alex Santana after moving here from Puerto Rico.
Even though I was a little hesitant because I was like, well, I'm through technology. I don't think they're gonna have a lot of options, and they actually did.
Now a senior at IUPUI, Santana is interning at Eli Lilly thanks to the help from ILI and is confident about his future because of the Institute.
Reasons why I am in the right track. I'm working towards a successful career because my foundation is solid thanks to them.
So the Institute actually did a survey and found that 62% of Latinos in our area say that sometimes, rarely, or never did they get the right resources for higher education. So again, they can come here for those free educational programs. You saw the success with Lopez and Santana. They've been able to grow their resumes as well as build those leadership qualities through this opportunity. We're going to have a little bit more from them in the next half hour. Back to you in the studio.
Aaron, thank you. It is 5:37. City leaders are also working to address areas where people do not have access to fresh food, known as food deserts. Indianapolis is looking for an expert or organization to work with the city, staff, and community leaders to help get to the root of what causes food insecurity and then figure out how to fix it. The consultant will also work with small grocery store owners that are trying to succeed in food deserts.
What we're trying to do here is give people an additional lifeline to help them grow out of some of the initial growing pains of trying to make a difference without necessarily having the technical expertise as you get started. And I think that's an important thing that we can leverage our city resources to help do.
The city will be accepting submissions to take on this task through the Office of Public Health and Safety until Friday, October 4th. The study is expected to be complete in September of next year.
Purdue University just landed a $10 million federal grant to jumpstart a new laboratory devoted to improving food safety in developing nations. The funding from the United States Agency for International Development will go toward Purdue's new Feed the Future Innovation Lab for Food Safety. The lab will collaborate with Cornell University to develop programs to improve food safety in Bangladesh, Cambodia, Ethiopia, Kenya, and Senegal. Feed the Future is a global hunger and food security initiative spearheaded by the U.S., aiming to tackle the root causes of hunger, poverty, and malnutrition.
Well, this weekend, you're invited to remember the life of Eva Moses Core, the Holocaust survivor who called the Hoosier State home. Eva died last month while on her annual trip to Poland. She was 85 years old. As a child, she and her twin sister survived the horrors of the concentration camp at Auschwitz. She started the Candles Museum out in Terre Haute and made it her mission to forgive but never forget the Holocaust. On Sunday, her life will be celebrated at Clues Hall in Butler's campus at 2 p.m. Governor Holcomb and her son, Dr. Alex Core, are set to speak along with a world-renowned Holocaust scholar.
Good news this morning on an animal neglect case we first told you about at the beginning of this year. In January, 80 dogs along with several horses and donkeys were rescued from a woman's home in Lagodi. This morning we can report all of the dogs have found their forever homes. The Martin County Humane Society says several of the horses have also been adopted. Humane Society officials say since the dogs were purebred, that helped them get adopted fast, but they say they hope people will check out mixed breeds at area shelters because they are just as loving. Some cute faces there to start your Friday.
Oh yeah, well the National Weather Service officials say that a tornado touched down in southwest Indiana earlier this week. The EF1 tornado touched down near Graysville just after midnight on Tuesday. That's out in Sullivan County near the Illinois state line. Meteorologists say that the tornado had winds of up to 95 miles per hour and it was on the ground for about a half a mile. Thankfully, the storm did not damage any buildings, but it did knock down several trees. Back here at home at 5:40 on your Friday. Want to get a check of today's forecast? No severe weather this morning, Todd.
No, and there's the threat of a few showers later on this afternoon, but severe weather out of the picture here for the day today. That's the good news as you get out the door and you start the last day of the work week. For many of you, temperatures this morning a little on the cool side. Some of you are in the 50s. Most of you are in the 60s, and temperatures will not really move much at all with the cloud cover in place here throughout the morning hours. Eventually, we'll start to moderate as we head into the 11 o'clock hour, which you may start to think about lunch at that point, and it's Food Truck Friday down on Georgia Street. And just be aware that there could be a few spotty showers out there as we get into the noon hour. They should be very, very light, so I don't think you need to cancel your plans if you are heading out for lunch, but just know that that shower threat will be there. Temperatures will be in the mid to upper 70s throughout the afternoon hours, and if you do have plans this evening, you're in great shape for whatever you want to do outdoors. One of the events downtown at White River State Park, Jonah and the Lion in concert. I know a lot of people are heading to that show. It's going to be pretty comfortable, starting off right around 81 degrees, temperatures falling into the mid 70s, but here's the key. It's going to be a dry evening, so head out there and enjoy. We'll talk more about your weekend forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, Todd, thank you. More U.S. seniors are being forced out of their homes. After the break, what experts say is behind this heartbreaking trend.
And we're monitoring a traffic alert for drivers in Fishers heading south on I-69 at 106th Street. You can see this crash cleanup on your screen, blocking several left lanes and the center lane there. Well, let's scoot over to the right and give yourself some extra time. Traffic is building in this area. We'll keep a close eye on it when we come back after the break. Stay with us. You're watching Good Morning Indiana.
Lasting energy to outlast your morning.
Welcome back to Good Morning Indiana, 5:45 here on your Friday. And here's a live look downtown, I-65 and I-70 at the South Split. Traffic here pretty busy already at this early hour. This is part of that detour route if you're taking I-465 normally around to the east side. So again, expect that heavier traffic heading through downtown today and all next week.
Investigators from the National Transportation Safety Board are expected to determine the wreckage from Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s Cessna business jet today. The small plane plane crashed upon landing yesterday at the Elizabethton Municipal Airport in eastern Tennessee. 5 people were on board, including Earnhardt, his wife, baby, and baby daughter. Everyone is safe. NASA Administrator Jim Bridenstine will offer an update today on plans to bring humans back to the moon by 2024. He says the rocket expected to power the next mission is about 90% complete. Bridenstine says an Artemis 1 test flight is scheduled for 2020.
North Korea officials say they will not hold any future face-to-face talks with South Korean officials. Those remarks follow South Korean President Moon Jae-in's Liberation Day speech, saying dialogue between the Koreas and the United States remains unshaken despite North Korea's recent missile launches. North Korea has rallied against the ongoing U.S.-South Korea joint military drills. Earlier this week, North Korean leaders say that they'll only hold future talks with Washington. At 5:46, let's check in with Todd Clausen and our Friday forecast.
All right, all is quiet right now. That is the good news as you start your last morning commute of the work week here across the area. No weather-related issues. Skies are mostly cloudy. The temperature sits at 68 degrees. The wind is nice and calm. Sunrise officially here this morning is at 6:58, and look at that sunset now as at 8:40 as the daylight hours continue to get shorter and shorter as we make our push here through the latter half of August. And temperatures this morning, kind of a little bit of a fall-like feel out there, more September-ish than August. 59 is the current temperature right now in Pendleton, 61 in Greenwood, as well as Greenfield. And as we work our way to the north, Peru's at 59, Crawfordsville, you're at 56 degrees, 63 in Bloomington. The good news is now that the clouds, though, are starting to make their way into the area, those temperatures are not going to fall off all that much here throughout the remainder of the morning hours. So the clouds are a little thinner off towards the east. As you work your way westward, the clouds are a little more dense, and then they're all part of this diving storm system that's making its way down to the south through Missouri this morning with some heavy rainfall. Nothing severe there, and all that rain is going to miss us, but as you see, the clouds are just kind of close enough to spoil our morning sunrise here across the area. Now, as far as our rain chances throughout the day, there's probably one window between about, I would say, 10 a.m. and maybe 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon that a few very, very spotty showers will be around and sliding through the area. If you do see some of these showers, they're very, very light, and don't think that it's going to wash out the remainder of your day, because once that little wave moves through, I do think we'll start to break into a little bit of sunshine this evening across the area, and that is going to be great news for all the outdoor events. So here's how your forecast breaks down for you hour by hour throughout the day. Again, there's that little shower threat midday, 76 degrees by the noon hour, and then eventually temperatures will climb up into the low 80s as we work just a little bit of sunshine into this forecast. And then for those evening events, I know there's Sausage Fest going on up at St. Aquinas at 46th in Illinois, Polka Boys at the Rathskeller, Meredith's favorite band, she'll be dancing at Symphony on the Prairie, singing Dancing Queen to ABBA, the music of that. They'll be there, so go sing along with her. And then we have Jonah and the Lion down at White River State Park. Now, the weekend, that is going to bring in some different weather. Saturday's 85, 90 on Sunday. So we start to build in the heat and the humidity. Storm chances on Saturday in the morning. Sunday, they are going to be in the evening hours. So here we are Saturday morning. And if you wake up to some of this rainfall, just know it is not going to spoil the entire day. It's going to be one of those clusters of storms. Some of you to the north may not even see it. I think it's more of a southerly event that'll make its way through the area. But there could be some pretty good rainfall Saturday morning. But look how that moves out. And by Saturday afternoon, we'll be in great shape. I know Hootie and the Blowfish are up at Ruoff tomorrow evening. That's a sold-out show, so a lot of people will be there. I think you'll be just fine for that if you're heading to that show. And then heading into Sunday, it's just the opposite of Saturday. We start off dry on Sunday, but then we start to build in the chance of some spotty thunderstorms as we work our way into Sunday afternoon and evening, and those will be driven by the daytime heating with a high of 90. 92 on Monday. That's the hottest day. It's a dry day as well. Still warm, still muggy Tuesday and Wednesday, and then a little bit cooler as we work our way into the day on Thursday. The time now is 5:50. Here's another look at the roadways with Lauren.
All right, Todd, the biggest issue we're monitoring right now will impact drivers here in Hamilton County taking I-69 southbound here as you approach 116th Street and and 106th Street. That area, that's where the left lanes are blocked for a crash cleanup. You can see the delay right now, backing traffic all the way up to Campus Parkway. It's moving slower as traffic has to shift out of those left lanes over into the right lane. Let's take a look right now from our INDOT traffic camera in this area. You can see where crews are working right now. Of course, we'll continue to keep you updated on this issue and any other crashes as you're heading out the door. And one other thing I want to note right now, the northbound lanes over in the shoulder, it looks like one left northbound lane also blocked for this cleanup. No word on injuries at this time.
A heartbreaking trend happening around the country. More seniors are becoming homeless. According to the Department of Housing and Urban Development, the number of seniors who are homeless was at 2.9% in 2007. In 2016, that number went up to 4.7%. Experts and groups that help the homeless say two things are to blame for this growing trend.
They are oftentimes on a fixed income. And so as housing prices increase, their income does not, nor does their income often have the chance of increasing.
Officials say there's now a growing need for shelters that can cater to the elderly along with their health issues. For those seniors who haven't reached the point of homelessness, it's important for them to find local and state programs that help with rental assistance or rental subsidies. It may be the middle of summer, but as we've told you, companies are already thinking about fall. After the break, the latest creation tearing the internet apart.
And a Bartholomew County couple sharing their memories, the first memories of Woodstock. Download the RTV6 app right now to read more about Warren and Janet Ward's fond memories with 400,000 of their closest friends. Time right now, it's 5:52. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
At the Good Feed store.
Welcome back. Pumpkin spice and canned meat. Hormel apparently thinks that it is a perfect combo. We're not so sure, but we're going to let you decide, of course. The company says fans of the fall-time favorite pumpkin spice can purchase cans of limited edition Spam pumpkin spice next month. Yeah, the product will be on sale at Walmart and Spam's online stores. There's no pumpkin mixed in with the canned pork, just some cinnamon, clove, allspice, and nutmeg. What's the perfect side dish for pumpkin spice Spam? Well, Spam recommends topping it with waffles, creating a fall vegetable hash with it, or even baking it into cornbread muffins.
I'm sorry,
hold in your thoughts on that.
Of pork and pumpkin?
I know. On muffins and waffles. Not for me.
No. All right. Well, hopefully you don't eat that before you go do this. Take a ride on the world's largest Giga Coaster. Wouldn't want to be down on the ground for that one, Lauren. Well, the predictions for Kings Island's newest rides were correct. The park unveiling Orion, the newest roller coaster, complete with a 300-foot drop. To put that into perspective, that's just 2 feet shorter than the park's tallest ride, the Windseeker Swings. Orion will be the park's longest coaster and will reach speeds up to 91 miles per hour. The coaster will be the 13th fastest coaster in the world. Kings Island officials say the cost of the ride is more than the price tag to build the entire park back in 1972.
Both stories have my stomach churning.
Yes. And ironically, I think Todd is the only one out of the three of us who maybe would take the challenge and eat the pumpkin spice Spam and ride the roller coaster.
I'll ride the roller coaster all day, every day. The Spam, no.
Not for you.
Oh, that I think is maybe the first food product Todd has ever denied.
I can tell you, I have never had Spam in my life, and I am not ready to try it.
All right, I agree. Yes.
All right, it's a cool morning for us here across the area. 57 in Zionsville, 59 in Logansport, 66 in Indy. Mostly cloudy skies right now. That's the way they stay throughout most of the day. A few spotty showers will be possible this afternoon, but this evening, if you have plans, you're just fine with a high of 82. The time now is 5:57. Stay with us. We'll be back here in just a few minutes.